If you're a Vivek Oberoi fan, well, I think you're going to enjoy this next interview. But before we get started, make sure you hit that bell icon and subscribe to our channel. And it is indeed my pleasure to welcome Vivek Oberoi to California and to the Cry Gala, which has done exceedingly well and already surpassed what they were supposed to raise. Vivek, and a lot of credit goes to you. You're fantastic.
I think the credit goes to the people of San Diego. This has been an amazing journey. I remember when I was doing the virtual gala during the COVID window when we couldn't make it physically, I promised the Cry team that I would keep my word and fly down to America once things open up and help them raise funds for this incredible work that they're doing, this phenomenal, I call it the Cry Crusaders. I think they're doing such a great job. And just so happy that last night, Reshma, in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, they kind of surpassed their all-time record in terms of donations, and the same thing happened today in San Diego. So I'm really, really happy, and I'd like to congratulate all the donors for giving with all their heart.
Now let's talk about Cry. It's an amazing organization. When did you first hear about Cry?
Before I mention that, I must say thank you to you too for being so generous and making a donation personally. It's lovely to see that. I've been hearing about Cry for a really long time because for me, charity is a very important part of my life. We have our own foundation. We do a lot of work and we support a lot of active foundations. So, when you're working on a grassroots level, you hear about good organizations that are actually creating impact, and Cry was one of them. And they reached out to me saying that, we'd like you to come and help us with this. And I first understood and assessed their program, what they're doing, and how much impact that it's creating on the ground. And I loved that. I loved the fact that through their committed volunteer network, they were in 4,100 villages across India, and 2,800 slums and villages, working towards something that I'm very passionate about: stopping little girls from being sold into child labor or even worse, which is child prostitution. So that was something that really inspired me to come in and support Cry with all my heart.
A lot of people may or may not know, but Vivek is a philanthropist for the long, long time. And one of the beautiful stories you just shared today was so beautiful that your first salary, you actually helped a little girl who had a heart condition.
I don't take any credit for that. My mom inspired me to do that because I wanted to actually use my first salary to buy something fancy or nice for my mom. But she redirected my way of thinking, and that's what I say that, in my book, heroes don't wear capes, they wear sarees.
That was very well said. You had all the Indian women, including me at that point. So Vivek, tell me now, how important do you think, you're a celebrity, it is for a celebrity to use their forum in today's world with social media bustling? How important do you take that role as a role model?
We saw Lalita Amma today. She's not a celebrity, but she's been able to create phenomenal impact. Your own example, the wonderful story that you just shared with me from 2010 when, I didn't even know that till now, that you made a donation to one of my charities, and, your dollars probably went in to educate and empower so many girls and keep them out of being sold into child prostitution or dying of malnourishment. So I think impact is impact. If you're a celebrity, there is an amplifier. You can amplify the impact. You can accelerate the impact using your voice. And that's the big differentiator. But then you have to truly believe in it, because when you pick a cause, you have to nurture it. You have to really stick with something. So if it's just fashion, if it's just, oh, I should do this because my PR said so, or I'm doing a movie that ties in with something like this and I promote it, then it kind of fades away. And you don't really see measurable impact, because when you're trying to create measurable impact, it takes ages sometimes. I've been doing this 20 years now, continuously. And then over 20 years, you start to see it snowball. You start to see it grow. You start to, build grassroots organizations, volunteers, inspire people. And that's how it grows. And you need to have that continued commitment. That's what's important.
So do you feel as an actor, you leave something behind on celluloid?
I think so. I think I discovered very early in my career that when you empathize with a character, when you try to put yourself in that character's shoes, two things happen. One is a part of you goes into that character, and the other thing is a part of that character comes into you. So as you keep growing as a person, sometimes you learn from the characters, and sometimes you lend your experience to that character. You could, dig deep inside for a moving emotional experience to pour your heart into a scene. And that suddenly looks like, the character coming alive on screen. And sometimes the reverse happens. When I remember I was shooting Satya, and there was a moment with Rani where she's on that hospital bed, and the climax of the film, and I don't know whether she's going to wake up, whether she's going to survive this or not, and all these thoughts going through my head at that time. And I remember that reminded me so deeply of the time where I lost my childhood sweetheart to cancer, and she was in the hospital bed fighting leukemia, and I was exactly like that on her bedside talking to her. So sometimes life can, you draw upon that. I remember while shooting that scene, I connected so deeply with that pain that was somewhere still stored inside that I couldn't stop crying for hours. So that happens. There is that exchange of emotions.
Taking you back a little bit, just down memory lane, I think you wanted to be an actor. You had a very, your father who's always, very popular. So do you remember the feeling when you first saw yourself on screen?
Yeah, even before that, I remember the feeling when I first saw my poster, my hoarding, actually. I remember getting a call from Ram Gopal Verma, and I remember him telling me, Jew Circle. I'm like, yes, sir. Said, go to Jew Circle. And I just didn't understand why am I going to Jew Circle, but he has always been a mystery, right? So I just took the cryptic code and went there and stopped at Jew Circle, and there it was, this massive hoarding with somebody that I'd idolized as a student, which was Ajay Devgan, this superstar in my book, and me right next to him. Two of us on one poster, looking incredible, that poster, and that moment was amazing. I remember just getting out my little car and standing there and just looking up like that and just staring at that poster and tears rolling down my eyes, because that was a dream that I just saw the universe fulfilling for me.
What can we look forward to now? I know you have a couple of things coming out.
Yes. I just finished filming with Sunil Shetty. I play the protagonist, and he plays the villain in a show that we did called Dharavi Bank, which is a very fascinating kind of look into a different side to Dharavi. So we finished that for MX Player with Samit Kakkar directing that. I also started shooting for Indian Police Force with Rohit Shetty. So it's fantastic to be part of the cop universe, the Rohit Shetty cop universe, along with my good friends Siddharth Malhotra and Shilpa Shetty and a bunch of other cool people. So that's a lot of fun that we're shooting right now. I'm just finished shooting another Malayalam film for a dear friend of mine, Prithviraj. So that's a big action film that we just concluded shooting in Kerala. And then I start shooting very soon. As soon as I go back from this fundraiser, I start shooting for Pradeep Sarkar, along with Jacqueline and KK Menon. So super exciting times.
Talk to me about Dhokebaz. Was that different?
Yeah, that was fun. I love Afsana. She's a great singer. Jani is a phenomenal lyricist. They reached out and they said, Paji, ye gana hai. I heard the song. I loved the song. And I said, chalo, karte hain. So it was fun. We just went out just like that on a whim, shot it, and over 2 really freezing nights in Rajasthan. So went and shot it in this beautiful Haveli, in this beautiful palace, and it's fun. I love the amount of love that it's getting right now.
Yeah, you asked on your Instagram, what's your favorite look? So what's your favorite look?
I think my favorite look is the look of satisfaction when all the Cry donors write big checks.
Very well said. And in conclusion, how would Vivek Oberoi like to be remembered? What should his epitaph say?
I don't know if I'm ready for my epitaph yet. I'd like it to be a long one. But at the top of the list is truly a good human being. I think that's what matters most to me.
And what do you think of Vivek Oberoi? What are your favorite films of his? Do you think he's a good philanthropist? We'd love to know right here. And do subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon.